Here we are at the beginning of September. All the armies are pretty damn fatigued at this point in terms of casualties taken, etc. And so am I. Alright, let's look from the north down. First, over in the Finnish area. The Finnish are nearly finished. Trotsky's done a damn good job of hitting them up pretty hard. They should still last another turn or two, though, and Yudenich is looking into evacuating during that time if the Poles can open up Riga, because that'll be a bonus for him. Meanwhile, the Poles continue their offensive. It's slowed down a little bit. They pulled back out of the Ukraine in order to swap headquarters, basically. They had a headquarter that couldn't cover the ground there, and they want to get somebody who can both take Kiev and influence in the Pripyats. And the other guy will take the central position. Ukrainians are running up to go grab Lemberg. The Poles said, oh yeah, sure, you can have it. Because it gives points to the Ukrainians. Of course, once Greater Poland's formed, which is going to happen one way or another, then the Ukrainians will be booted from there. I'll swing over to that northern section. So Blucher managed to cause this, and we discussed it a little earlier, this nearly well, it's a pocket, but it's nearly completely encircled. I think chances are that the whites will be able to get out of it, but we'll see. They have to coordinate in order to do so. And doing so, they're going to risk themselves to a pursuit. Stalin certainly helped in causing it, but Blucher's splitting his forces and pushing the two sides apart was key to it. Unfortunately, doing so thinned his forces, and the Hetman was able to come in and do some serious damage there. And meanwhile, the Denikin-Wrangel combination continued pushing forward, and they were also involved in, Denikin was involved in collapsing the side there, but mainly that was the Hetman. And we still see this this front with Chernikov really pushing into the Ukraine there. Right now, I'd say it's more up in the air than I'm used to it being at this point in the game. I've never seen the Poles stay in the game this long. I don't know if maybe I mistook and put the Riga Treaty in too early before, or the Poles came in way late, which is what I think it happened. I only played it once or twice. Political points, though, definitely favoring the Reds at this point. I mean, it's still a toss-up position, but it's nowhere near where it was before. Yeah, we had an event, the Dockers strike, which cancels out half the Allied aid to the Poles. We'll see what's going. Right now, the southern faction is pretty happy. They feel like they've got a big numerical advantage down in that front. And they're seeing the Siberians probably going to have to pull back. And the Reds either have to chase them or be harassed by them. So, unless the Reds decide to just take a defensive front and start stripping troops off, and leaders more importantly, for the South, we're just not, there's just not enough down there right now. Of course, if the Poles stop fighting, if they get what they want, if a lot of things happen, the Southerners are going to be stopped dead in their tracks. There's a lot of troops up there at Leningrad that can start, Petrograd, that can start being pushed south too. But the Poles are pretty much unstoppable. So, although, what's his name, Igorov, retook Minsk. The Poles took it, and he immediately retook it. So that was kind of exciting, actually. All right. Quick snapshot of the moment. The Hetman takes advantage and cuts Blucher off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think Blucher's actually out of supply on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Looks like it. That's going to be painful. He's probably going to be able to regain supply. I mean, his units are not cut off, but it is definitely going to hurt. In a snapshot of the white line after that's exploited, the reds fell back and Denikin surged forward, creating a solid line. Blucher's looking more and more in trouble here. Situation, we're in October, the beginning of October 1920. It's definitely a big improvement for the whites right now. Let me go over what we got. One problem that they're seeing, well, the Finns surrendered. Well, they asked for an armistice. The advantage for them is two things. One, Helsinki didn't fall, and that's worth 2 victory points as opposed to the armistice, which is only worth 1. They did lose their headquarters, though, which is another victory point. But the other advantage is it allows Yudenich to stay and operate out of Finland. His situation was not completely resolved to the Bolsheviks' liking. He took over the government there, essentially, and made his demand hold or, accept this. So, anyway, let's go onward. The Polish advance largely has been halted. We actually saw some pretty good defenses being taken up by the Reds. Not so much active this turn. Last turn was more active. Their Air Force, we now see some Red planes in place to help counteract the Polish Air Corps. And Minsk. They bombarded Minsk until the Russians left, but they didn't take it. What that meant is the Russians lost a unit somewhere because of the under-garrison rule, and they also lost a unit for abandoning Saratov for the same reason. No big deal. They've got some crappy 4-point infantry with 2 hits on them that are totally useless, but just an issue in the game. All right. The Ukrainians went in and took Lemberg, which allowed them to build more units. The Reds have pretty much pulled back to their low point line, with the exception of Stalin, and in the north, where they've been completely victorious. They're back behind the Dnieper, and basically right near Kharkov, and not too far. They've got Tambov, but they're also on the line at Voronezh. We still got Blucher's Bulge, but he's in a position where he'll be in supply once he resolves it. Everything else pretty much stayed the same, except Stalin got beaten at his own game and outflanked by Kolchak. And now we're seeing, let's, spooky. We got some good units beginning to show up on Kolchak's side there. Other than that, nothing exciting is really going on. We may end up at a stalemate again because as the Reds get that interior line, their own lines are thickening, and they're becoming more defensive. The Poles are the big wild card here. They have the force they might be able to break through.